Mr. President of the Association of Mayors of France, Mr. Barouin, Mr. Vice President, Madame Mayor of Paris,
ville martyre, mais ville lumière.
the city of light that has been attacked, we are with you. Ladies and gentlemen, mayors, through you, France has been brought together during hardship, united through resolution, resolving to fight. The circumstances are exceptional at the moment. As I speak here before you, a police operation, a particularly perilous police operation, has just ended. The aim of the operation was to neutralize, last night, terrorists set up in Saint-Denis. Terrorists with ties to the perpetrators of the attacks that occurred on Friday night. 2 of the terrorists died during the attack, and people were arrested. I can imagine the concern of the people of Saint-Denis, and I would like to commend their level-headedness. I would also like to express my solidarity with the mayor of Saint-Denis. Because the attacks on Friday night at the Stade de France happened in his constituency, and once again he was alongside the police forces as the assault was given. And finally, I would like to express our gratitude, our admiration for the forces, the policemen, the people who launched this operation. They were aware of the danger. They maybe underestimated the violence they would be faced with. But they saw their mission through. Many of them were wounded. And I'm also thinking of those police officers who went into the Bataclan to attack the terrorists and to neutralize them once again. Dear mayors, France is proud to be able to call on your strength and quality to protect its citizens. These acts show once again that we are at war. We are at war against terrorism. Terrorism which declared war on us. It is the Daesh jihadist organization. It has an army. It has financial resources. It has oil. It has a territory. It has allies in Europe, including in our country, with young, radicalized Islamist people. It commits atrocities there and wishes to kill here. It has killed here. During the night of the 13th of November, at least 129 people lost their lives. Our thoughts go to them, to those men, to these women who were cowardly killed, traumatized. Our thoughts go to their families, who are now grieving. These attacks bloodied Paris and Saint-Denis, but they affect all of the French people, no matter where they live in the country. because it is the entire country that was attacked, because of what it represents, what it stands for, its values, its fights to eradicate terrorism, and quite simply for what we are. What the terrorists attacked is the very idea of France, what it represents, what it has been throughout the generations, for the freedom that it proclaims, for the universal rights that it defends. That is what was attacked on the night of the 13th of November. Because these barbarians, in their blind violence, attacked the French people in all its diversity, without concerning themselves with ethnicity, with religion. It is the youth of France that was targeted, because the youth represents vitality, generosity, freedom, quite simply, life. The emotion is huge, and so is the anger. Each and every one of us is experiencing compassion for the victims of the attacks. And we want action to neutralize the perpetrators of these attacks and those who give the orders. The aim of these terrorists is to terrorize us, to divide us. We need to be sure to guarantee within each commune in France the unity that is our strength, the level-headedness that is our dignity. You are elected officials of the Republic. You represent the diversity of our country. And you also represent all of the causes of our country. But when faced by a terrorist threat, we are all the same. All the regions are the same. There is no longer political strife. There is just men and women with a duty, elected officials who know their responsibilities for the Republic. And I know that you want to show that will. Before both chambers of the Parliament on Monday, I expressed the responses that I wish to bring to this terrorist threat which attacked us. First of all, at an international level, the Syrian operations have been ramped up. The Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier has arrived, and in the eastern Mediterranean it will be able to triple our attack capacity. I called the international community. I called on them to become involved in what must be a common action, which is the eradication of Daesh. On Tuesday, I will be going to Washington and Thursday to Moscow to speak with Barack Obama and with Vladimir Putin to discuss the coordination of our action. This is required so that we can work and act decisively and quickly to achieve our goals. We need to create a large coalition, a coalition to decisively strike Daesh, because it is Daesh the issue. We must show unity among the international community. I know that there are differing interests between countries, they have different points of view, they don't necessarily have the same allies. But what we need to do is annihilate an army which is a threat for the entire world and not just some countries. This is a mission I shall undertake, And France, through its armed forces, will play a major role in the resolution of this conflict, at a military level and also at a diplomatic level, through its policies. Domestically, on the very night of the tragedy, I decided to re-implement border controls. And this was in compliance with our European commitments. I decided on a state of emergency throughout the country. And I decided with the overseas ministers that this state of emergency should be applied wherever a threat is present. A bill shall be presented to the Parliament this evening, which would allow to extend the state of emergency over 3 months. This bill will also clarify this exceptional procedure. State of emergency, it is true, means certain restrictions of freedom. But by using this tool, this enables us to re-establish those freedoms fully later on. Administrative measures are being implemented, and house arrests have been handed down. These are with a particular goal in mind, to identify accomplices, to dismantle networks, to isolate radicalized elements in society, to put an end to smuggling, which provides money and logistic capabilities to terrorists. That is what we mean by emergency. But we must go even further. This war has been raging for years already, and it will take time to see it end. So we need patience and firmness. I took the necessary decisions to enable countries to join this fight within the respect of the rule of law and international conventions. Our administration and legal structure has been reinforced since 2012. Anti-terrorist laws have been passed. Intelligence laws have been passed. But there are still lessons to be learned from the day-to-day activities of our services, and enabling our legal institutions, enabling our policemen, our gendarmes, creating tools so that no emergency situation does not have an answer. That is what we must do. I also called for an amendment to the Constitution. You need strong reasons to wish to change such a fundamental text. We need a robust legal framework that will let us face such exceptional circumstances. This is not the transfer of civil power to the military services or the transfer of full powers with Article 16. We must envision all options, because in the spirit of unity, I have not turned away any suggestions, even though some of them do go against our international communities. With the Prime Minister, I wanted the Council of the State to be brought in on this issue and to make suggestions on what could be useful to us. The government will work closely with the Parliament, and I will make sure of that with the Prime Minister. And finally, I decided to ramp up recruitment for the security forces, for the justice departments, for border controls, and 8,000 new jobs will be created in these civil administrations, and no job will be lost in the coming years. This means more policemen, more gendarmes, more of these people deployed in the communes in France and better equipped and better armed.
Il y aura aussi sûrement, et le président Barouin m'en a fait la proposition.
President Barouin suggested that we should think about what we can do to work with the local authorities to improve our vigilance. And the state, as you know, has international commitments. We wish to uphold these international commitments, but the state must also be able to protect itself. Given this, given that the road ahead is long, I want all of the powers of the state to be made available to our citizens. And I know I can count on your support and the support of the 3,900 local police services. I would like to commend their role in helping the national police services and the gendarmes. I know they are also at risk. I have not forgotten the death of Clarissa Jean-Philippe, that young municipal police officer who was killed in Montrouge on the 8th of January. The government will help you better protect our fellow French people and also better protect our municipal police officers by financing their equipment and also by providing to the mayors who so desire weapons from the National Armory. We will also ramp up security through better means that will enable us to act with more strength. I am very attached to the participation of the mayors of France, to the actions that will be carried out in the framework of this state of emergency, particularly the prohibition from travelling to certain areas. Only mayors can help us in this. And I'm also thinking of the protection of public buildings, which could be potential targets for terrorists. Here again, we need your help. The Interior Minister has asked the prefects to organize in each department meetings with mayors to inform them on the nature of the terrorist threat, the presence of dangerous individuals, and the security measures that the state will implement. I also know that mayors and their teams in some cities are involved in the management of priority security zones. Here again, we can act to continue to fight against smuggling in certain areas using the appropriate means. You are also actors in the surveillance cells for radicalization that were created in each department. This is a vital mission. And tragically, today, we are seeing how important this is. We need to make sure that young French people do not become a danger for themselves and also for the country where they live, the country they belong to. Day by day, dear mayors, you fight so that our differences do not become points of conflict. Through terror, Daesh wishes to, through massacres, poison us with stigmatization, with fear, with division. Let us not give in to isolationism. Let us not give in to fear, to excess. Our social cohesion is the best answer we can bring, and a national unity shows this. We must be unwavering in condemning any hateful act. Anti-Semitic, xenophobic, anti-Muslim act must be tolerated. And if individuals wish to honor terrorists in groups, in communities, then the bill, which was presented this morning to the Council of Ministers, will allow dissolution of these groups, and they will immediately be dissolved. I would also like to call on your vigilance, because you, mayors of France, know better than anyone your region, your population, your constituents. Mr. President, you expressed your position regarding principles, and your position honors you. That is, to talk about refugees. Some wish to link the terrorist threat to the influx of migrants. The truth is that that link exists, because the people who are running from Iraq and Syria, because they are attacked by the very same people who are attacking us today. The great majority of these refugees are going to Northern Europe, Germany, and the United Kingdom. France, in all of its sovereignty, has decided to join in the effort in helping these refugees. 30,000 refugees will be taken on in the coming years. I wished for this policy to be carried out in collaboration with the mayors. The Interior Minister brought together those who wished to be involved in this initiative. That was on the 12th of September this year. And many of you did answer that call. And many of you are already welcoming migrants from Calais. And I would like to express my gratitude to you. The government, to help you, will set up a support mechanism to communes that will help create these sites. We have duties towards the migrants, but we also have a duty to protect the French people. I know the concerns upheld by some, and France must answer these. We stand by the countries where the refugees are, including Jordan, Turkey, Lebanon. And France must also make sure, before people enter the European soil, that there is no risk for our country. We will therefore carry out the necessary tests before we allow refugees on our soil. This is what we have been doing in the past, and we will continue to do. The reform on asylum candidates will enable us to refuse asylum status to anyone whose presence on French soil is a threat. This is how we will guarantee the safety of the French people, with increased border controls, while remaining true to our values. Ladies and gentlemen, mayors, I know you. I know what you do day by day. I know what you do for your constituencies, for the citizens, for their well-being, for their safety. I know what your idea of the Republic is. You want your fellow citizens to be members of the nation. You want them to share your Republican ideals. I know you. I know you are attached to secularism. The French Republic is a society in which anyone is free to believe or to not believe. The state does not recognize any religion, but allows anyone to have any religion they so desire. Secularism is a rule for all public institutions, and it protects privacy. Secularism means everyone has a place, but nothing threatens it. It is this trust in our shared principles, in our shared project beyond any diversity. It is this unity that makes us all French and proud to be French. Terrorists take away the lives of innocents, but they also wish to attack our own lives. So let me say this: France shall remain a country of freedom, of movement, of culture, an active, valiant country, a country that never backs down when faced with terror. Life must go on. And what would our country be without these cafes, without these sporting events, without these concerts? What would be our cities without the day-to-day bustle? What would be our villages without fraternity? The world has once again showed its solidarity with us, has coloured the greatest world monuments in red, white and blue. The world has been looking to France because we are freer than elsewhere here. France needs to remain true to itself. Our duty is to ensure that life goes on, that our businesses can work, that our cultural buildings are open, that our tourists are welcomed, that French people can move around, can travel, that the French people can trust in their own country. Our duty is to guarantee safety and to guarantee freedom. It is to protect and to continue on with life. I know I can count on the mobilization of the mayors of France, on the 500,000 locally elected officials, this great national avant-garde. I know I can count on all of the means of the nation so that in this war, France survives. Long live the Republic and long live France.